Hello, and welcome to the Rough Edges podcast with Sarah I. Fox. In this podcast, I will guide you through my faith and mental health journey to dispel the stigma surrounding mental illness and to create an empowering resource for those who wish to discover more about these topics. I pray that this podcast will not only bless you, but that it will bring growth and healing to our communities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Rough Edges. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is December of 2024, and that means that the holidays are swiftly approaching. The holidays could be a challenging time, especially for those who are dealing with seasonal depression, grieving the loss of a loved one, or seasonal affective disorder. And for those of you who don't know, seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is a type of depression that occurs during certain seasons, usually in the fall or the winter, and it improves in the spring and summer. For some people, it's in the reverse, and it could actually get worse in the spring or summer, and vice versa. Some of the main causes are changes in seasons, such as less sunlight and shorter days. It may also be caused by melatonin, a sleep related hormone, or a chemical change in the brain. So, in light of seasonal affective disorder, I wanted to not only raise awareness about this, but I wanted to appeal to my listeners who have been giving such great responses in the past listener special. And when you get a chance, I highly recommend that you check out the first one that I did about how faith and mental health can work together for mental wellness. But I appealed to my audience and asked them if they could share some tips or words of encouragement for people who are struggling with seasonal depression or seasonal affective disorder. And so, without further ado, I'm going to read all of the responses that I've received. And I must say that they were so informative and so powerful and so uplifting that I can't wait to get into these responses. So I'm going to read them and then I'm going to give my general thoughts afterwards. So the first response says seasonal depression can feel overwhelming, but small intentional actions can help. Focus on consistency. Stick to a routine. Get outside for natural light, even briefly, and prioritize nourishing foods and movement. Speak kindly to yourself and remind yourself that it's okay to ask for support. You're not alone, and taking one small step at a time makes a difference. The next response says, my best advice is to learn about circadian rhythms and how melatonin and serotonin affect the body. Around 4 p.m., we start that switch. When it's darker, it signals the melatonin to start making us sleepy so that we can get a good night's sleep. The signal happens too soon. So the goal is to do something active between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. in order to counteract your body's misguided hormone system. People with bipolar specifically should not use light boxes. I know some feel that it's safe, but I have never found them to be safe overall. Instead, use that 4 to 6 p.m. time frame for exercise and doing something you enjoy. If the person is at work, then make sure the most lively meeting is happening during this time. The next response says, as someone who lives where the air hurts my face, I feel this. I would say get sun when you can. It's gonna be limited with getting dark early, but take time to walk outside on a work break or get the mail. Even 5 minutes of taking in some sun. You may also need to get a vitamin D supplement like a vitamin or a gummy. Keep your normal sleep schedule, even though it's tempting to nap more. The next response says, My biggest tip is to get outside, even on gray and rainy days, for at minimum 1 hour. This will make a huge change in mood. First thing, when sun is getting up, you feel better. Also, taking a high quality supplement of vitamin D daily. The next response says, finding ways to get in the sunshine. Being sure to nourish your body with healthy, satisfying foods. Create simple morning and evening routines that help start and end your day. Reach out to supportive friends and family and let them know it's a challenging time. Seek professional help if you're not already seeing someone. Practice giving yourself grace and compassion. This time won't last forever. And get daily movement. Even 15 minutes makes a difference. Another response says, my tips would be to have a readiness plan in place. The depression season will come every year. So if you can have a plan in place to prepare for it, then it might be an easier transition into the season. Another response says, keep focus on things you enjoy and make exercise one of your priorities. Another response says, I would say to not stay in isolation. Try to find something that brings joy in this season, something to look forward to. Perhaps makes this season a season of service. Acknowledge your emotions, but don't suffer by yourself. Try to find community. If you don't have community, pray and ask God to help to orient your perspective and lead you to a community of support and understanding. Try to find one thing that you are grateful for and focus on that. Another response says, the first thing that comes to mind is that you're never alone in this world, and that even if you think that, God is always with you wherever you go. Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. And I really quickly want to read that verse. It says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be dismayed, for your God is with you wherever you go. Hello again. Before you dive into the rest of today's episode, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your support and for hitting that play button. If you want to expand on that support, here are 3 ways that you can do so. 1. Leave a review. If anything in today's episode resonated with you, or you want to share how the podcast changed your life, you can do so by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. 2. Check out our shop. The Rough Edges shop is a faith-based, women of color owned online shop where you can get a variety of products from tote bags, journals, t-shirts, crew necks, and more. 20% of the proceeds go to a mental health organization. So check it out at roughedgespodcast.com/shop. 3. Connect on social media. Rough Edges is on a variety of social media platforms, including Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and more. If you want to connect outside of listening to the podcast episodes, you can do so on those platforms. If you have any more questions or want more information on the ways that I've just discussed, you can check out the episode description or stay to the end for more information. Now, enjoy your episode. The next response says, a tip would definitely be if you don't feel like going outside, sit by a window that's opened a little. That fresh air will help to ease your mind a bit. I also love watching the sunset whenever I'm not in the best mental space. Another response says, my encouragement would be that no matter what season you are in, God is always with you. Even in the winters where you may feel alone, God has never left you and He never will. My tip would be to reach out to someone that you have a relationship with, a friend, mentor, or pastor, and open up to them about what you are feeling so that you can get the help that you need. Another person says, I encourage people to develop a mood cycle survival guide to be proactive about becoming aware of triggers and symptoms and having a plan to manage those symptoms. Another response says, listen to what your body needs and tune in to what it's telling you. For too long, I've lived without listening to my body, but now I'm listening and I feel much more grounded. Another response says, comparison is the thief of joy. It's not weak to need a social media break during the holidays so that you can focus on your life and appreciate it. Switch your negative view on winter and the sun going down early by intentionally finding things to enjoy in this season. Ice skating with friends, quality hot chocolate. Most importantly, use this slower season to spend more quality time with Jesus or do an Advent Bible reading plan with friends or serve at a church. Another response says, getting outside when the sun is out has been helpful. Over the years, I've really cultivated a love of snow, so I have so much joy when it snows. It's like not even possible for me to be depressed. Knowing too that the longest night is generally around December 21st. Most of winter happens when the sun is returning. That helps me to know. And then, not necessarily family, but I really pay extra attention to maintaining my friendships and support systems this time of year. Playing games I'm usually not in the mood for, checking in with people, participating more in conversations, etc. Another person says, when I feel anything but positive, I try to practice mindfulness about how I feel, how I don't feel, where my emotions are, and what state I'm in. It doesn't help in the moment when you're already sad, but I brace myself in those moments. Another person said, one of the most helpful things for me is making sure I prioritize movement. I like to go on cold walks when I can, and I do yoga every day. Also, I'm low on vitamin D, so I'm taking it, and my seasonal depression symptoms seem to have lessened. Obviously, talk to your doctor, but it's been nice not being immediately depressed when November hits. And this last response I want to share because it perfectly encapsulates every point that was made by all of these wonderful responses. One, acknowledge your feelings. It's okay to feel down or overwhelmed. Recognizing your emotions can be the first step towards managing them. Two, stick to a routine. Consistency in sleep, meals, and activities can help maintain stability during unpredictable times. 3. Get outside or use light therapy. Even short walks in daylight can improve your mood. For darker days, light therapy boxes can mimic natural sunlight and can be very effective. 4. Stay active. Exercise releases endorphins, which can naturally boost your mood. A quick workout or even gentle yoga can make a big difference. 5. Stay connected. Reach out to friends or family or support groups. Connection with others can provide comfort and reduce feelings of isolation. 6. Limit stress. The holidays can bring pressure, but simplifying your plans and setting boundaries can help you stay grounded. And lastly, 7. Focus on gratitude. Even small moments of gratitude, like a warm drink or a kind word, can shift your perspective. I really enjoyed reading these responses because not only are they very informative, they also highlight the fact that you are not alone in dealing with seasonal depression. And I find it very interesting that almost all of the responses emphasized getting movement, getting sunlight, increasing your vitamin D intake, and also getting out there and doing things with your community and really checking in with your support systems. I feel like these things are crucial, especially when dealing with seasonal affective disorder, because the changes in your mood, especially around this time where it gets darker earlier, it could really affect the way that not only you feel but communicate with others and like how you present yourself to the world in these moments. And so I really appreciate also the mention of circadian rhythms. And I know specifically for bipolar disorder, it is a circadian rhythm illness, which means that sleep has a really big bearing on the switches in mood and just how you're able to manage this disorder. So I would say that definitely pay attention to your circadian rhythms, and vitamin D was another big thing that was mentioned. Definitely get sunlight. And I love that one person mentioned like even going outside to get the mail in the morning or just opening a window. Like that is something that can definitely help influence your mood, especially when you're feeling depressed. And I also want to offer a word of encouragement to anybody that is struggling with grief during the holidays, because that is another aspect of that depression, especially around a time where you lost a loved one during the holidays. And I'm speaking from personal experience because I lost my grandfather last year around Thanksgiving, and it it has never been the same since. Like that time could be very triggering, and I understand that it could really ignite feelings of grief and depression around the holidays, which is generally supposed to be a time, according to society, of merriment and enjoying time with family and getting gifts. And it's just supposed to be a happy time. But when you're not really feeling those feelings that, societal norms are projecting that you feel, it can be challenging. So I am so grateful for everyone who responded, who took the time to share the tips and words of encouragement. It was really encouraging and informative for me in reading these. And I'm just so happy that I have a community of people who are willing to bring this information, to raise this awareness, and to encourage others who are also struggling. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you stay tuned for more empowering episodes on Rough Edges. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rough Edges podcast with Sarah I. Fox. If you want more updates on the podcast, you can follow on Instagram at rough.edges.podcast, or you can visit the official podcast website at roughedgespodcast.com. Thanks again for listening and have a wonderful day.